Yeah. Hi Venkatesh.
Hi, sir. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, doing good.
Great. So thank you so much for joining us today evening, and let us start this session. So I'm sure there'll be a lot of learning happening for these people who have joined us today. So let's get started. So maybe first you can introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your life journey as a photographer, and then we will go through your pictures and learn from them.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, most of you know my name is Venkatesh Penjuri. I live in Bangalore. I've been doing photography since like past 7 to 8 years, and most of my photos would be of macro and travel. I like traveling, and I do a lot of uh, travel photography and street as well. So yeah, I've been doing that since a long time, and of late I've started doing macro photography, and since 3 4 years I've been actively doing it, and most probably everyone's going to see some good images today. Yeah, and also I work for Adobe, so I my work is mostly on Lightroom itself. So it's not just on the weekends; even on the weekdays, I keep editing my photos and working on it. So you were saying
So
something?
yeah. So mostly you do macro photography
Yeah,
most of
yeah.
the time.
Nowadays I'm doing most of macro photography itself.
Okay. All right. So, who are the photographers who have influenced you a lot?
Yes, is on mute.
Yeah. So, who are the photographers who have influenced you a lot?
Okay, there are a lot of people who have influenced me. Like every day, I get inspired by people. Like, but on top of everything, I can just think of it's you, sir, because when I was starting photography, I was inspired by your images, your street images, and also the landscapes, all that you shoot, and like Satya Prasad sir's images, which were very interesting. I love how he plays with the highlights and shadows. And there are like amazing photographers here in Bangalore called Satish, Arjun Harith is who's a very good friend of mine. All these guys, they do like such great photography that I get inspired from them. And
Yeah, Venkatesh. Yeah, Venkatesh, can't hear you.
so can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah. Now it's better. Yeah. So we lost you for some time, I guess. Yeah. Okay, I think there is some problem with Venkatesh's connection. So in the meantime, I'm just going to share my screen so that you can see his pictures. Okay. So probably he'll be.
Yeah, I'm here. Looks like I was disconnected.
Okay. Yeah, there
Sorry
might be
for
some
that.
connection. No problem. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you are saying something.
Yeah, that's what I get inspired by everyone now and then.
Okay.
So
Great. Great. All right. So we will see your pictures, and in between, I will ask you a few picture questions regarding to them, related to
yeah,
them.
sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So we are going to start with this picture. So please tell us a little bit about how you took it, your approach, and yeah, a little bit about the settings and everything. What equipment you used.
So this was shot in front of my house. There's a small plant like Whenever I get some free time, I go keep checking if there is any activity. So this just happened to me. I mean, it was all luck there. I was just looking behind the leaves and all. So I just saw this and it was like very intriguing. Mostly the colors itself. So the green leaf and the red bugs matched. So it was beautiful, and I wanted the sky to be the background for this image. So you can see all the different hues here: the blues, greens, and the reds. And it is quite interesting to see how a small leaf becomes a very big lifeline to all these little critters. So I saw this activity, and I went into my home. I grabbed my camera. It is my camera is Nikon D7200, which has a Tamron 90 macro lens. And to get this level of magnification, I had to use three extension tubes. Like one is of 12 the other is of 24 the 32 So I have connected all these extension tubes. Along with that, I have a head-on flash, on-camera flash with a DIY diffuser, so that the light gets scattered in a very nice, so that the light is all soft everywhere. And see, the body of these little bugs are all very shiny. They have that oily texture on its body. So if you want the light to be properly lit and not make sure there's no overexposure there, we need to use a diffuser kind of a material. So I was using that, and that was actually mounted in front of my lens. So the flash hits the diffuser, and diffuser diffuses the light, and this is the image I got.
Okay, so this is just one light.
Correct. This is just one light, and background is the sky itself. So
Okay, okay,
yeah.
great. Okay. And what kind of settings did you use for this picture?
So since I would be using extension tubes are like these hollow tubes which will sit between your sensor and the lens elements. So with these things, there's a lot of drop in the light which goes into your sensor. So I
Right.
have to increase my uh, what to say the flash power to maybe 1/4 or 1/8 according to the scenario and according to the situation there. And the settings, since this is a macro and I'm using extension tubes here, the focal area will be so narrow that I have to use a very small aperture, maybe like f30 f28 or something like that, so that at least I get the leaf and the first uh, plane of this bugs to be in focus, at least the small area in focus. So, and because of my, again, since I have again cut down my aperture to a very great extent, I have to make sure I have my flash at good power, and even my shutter speed would be somewhere around 1/125 or somewhere between 1/200. Yeah.
So how much of planning goes into a picture like this?
Like I think that is in the muscle memory right now. But if you are beginning out, starting out doing macro photography, it takes a lot of time, because one thing is you have to understand how your lens focuses, because when you use such extreme magnifications, the focusing, you can't rely on the autofocus mechanism in your camera, because it kind of suffers to focus on what exactly you want on the subject. So you have to put it to manual mode, and when you are on manual mode, you have to make sure what is your focusing distance, and with what focusing distance how the magnification is. So to get the best magnification, it is always good to do an basic homework, where okay, so with this particular focal length and this particular extension of all my lenses extended to the extreme limit, meaning the focal length, this is the magnification I get at this particular focal length, is what one has to be prepared. And keeping that in mind, the same muscle memory which is going to tell you how far the subject is in front of your camera, and how well you have to place your subject so that you get the best magnification. So it takes a lot of trial and errors for you to get the proper focused image. And one important thing here is, since you are on manual focus, it is kind of very hard to get this particular, even though you see this whole uh, frame in focus in your viewfinder, even a very slight movement, even that slight movement by maybe by your breath also, it is going to ruin the focus. So you have to hold still, you have to take a deep breath, hold it, make sure it is in focus, click, and again exhale, so that what you see in the viewfinder, the same focus area is there even on the image after you click it. So it takes a lot of practice here to get such shots.
Okay. So do you also use a tripod in situations like this?
Tripod would be ideal, but see, all this amazing activity happens below the leaf, so beneath the leaf. So I have to bend on, do, it's all in awkward positions, and as soon as we have to do, so that we get to see this amazing activity. So in such cases, having a tripod would be beneficial, but all the even a small change in the senior subject, maybe be it the wind or whatever it is going to again make you, position your tripod, move it back and forth. So it takes a lot of time,
Right.
to get a proper setup. So I always shoot with handheld itself.
Okay. So do you also have the fear of this insect falling on you if you are lying down on the grass and shooting like in a situation like this?
uh, Fear of these things falling on me, no, not much. I'm only afraid of wasps, which they sting and the pain is there for at least a day. So that's all. These are like, though they might look a bit scary, but they don't bite
Oh,
or
okay.
create
Okay.
problems.
Great. Great. We'll move to the next picture.
Sure.
Oh, this is my favorite.
So this again, I shot it in the same garden what I shot it before. So I one day I was just strolling in that same area. So I saw one caterpillar busily eating the leaf. It was very interesting to see how patiently it was, eating bit by bit by bit, and it was enjoying the whole juicy flavors coming out of the leaf. I wanted to shoot. First time my impression was to let me shoot the activity of it chewing on the leaf. But later on I felt this particular, frame wherein those legs are holding onto the stem, and if you see those undulations there near the shadows, the highlights near the legs, they are very interesting. I mean, photographically it looks very pleasing, and you can see the symmetry composition here.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Symmetry is
So
awesome.
yeah, this again with the same light setup what I had used earlier for the earlier image. It's a similar setup, but I had a few things in the background which I had to remove it in Photoshop later on. I
Okay.
had to, mask those things.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So how much time did you take for taking this picture?
Maybe see, it was quite windy there, and it was actually moving uh, quite. It was pacing in a very good moment. So I had to, wait for the wind to stop, and then I had to click. So it was like maybe 20 to 30 minutes, most probably. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What about
Yeah.
this image?
Yeah. So this we bought a small plant in our house. So in that I saw this is actually it's a baby. I mean, maybe it's a few days old, that's all. It's just a newborn maybe. So it was actually trying to figure out where to go, what to do and all. So it was all curious and trying to find out how things are. And it was also scared to even jump from that leaf. It was just sticking onto that particular leaf. And if you see, right, I mean, the leaf itself is actually a new leaf. I mean, it is still starting to, bud,
Yeah.
and even the spider is still very, and so it kind of was going hand in hand. So I thought, let me shoot this and see. Again, the leaf itself says it is like a letter P, right? So somehow this small spider is asking us to name it with the letter P. And even compositionally, if you see, it has a nice spiral composition at the same time with the spider exactly meeting the rule of thirds. So all in all, it looks a bit interesting, and also it's kind of cute.
Very cool. And
Yeah.
what kind of lighting did you use for this picture?
This actually, the setup was on my Nikon D7200 with the Tamron 90 lens. I used an Raynox DCR 250 filter.
Okay.
So this is an actually a magnifying glass kind of a thing which you just
Right.
stick onto your in front of your lens.
Right.
So it gives good magnification without any loss of image quality, at least
Hmm.
in the middle areas. So and the lighting was from the side. I mean, I was using a tripod for the light.
Okay.
Since this was in my home, I had the comfort of changing the light positions and all.
Mhm.
So the light was on my left, and it was hitting the spider and the leaf.
Okay. So this was an external flash of the camera.
Correct, correct. I was using a remote trigger for this triggering the flash. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
Great. Yeah. What about this one?
Again, this is actually it is kind of funny because I saw this activity happening in front of the dustbin, where there was a lot of stale food and too much of wet waste, and there were all fruit flies flying around. And I
Okay.
saw the small spider hunting these fruit flies. So I was actually I sat down there and I was actually watching it happen. What I was just seeing how it is going to catch it, though I didn't have the camera at that time for me to document the whole story, but it was quite interesting, and I forgot everything. I forgot that I had to even capture the image, and I was actually enjoying the hunting technique what it is using. And once it finally caught this fruit fly, it was like maybe this is also a newborn. It's a baby spider itself. Maybe it is still learning how to hunt. So somehow it succeeded in catching this fly. So once it caught the fly, it was so much indulged into it, it didn't bother me going close. So then I went into my home. I took out my camera with the same setup. I always have my setup ready at home so that because there is a lot of trees. There are a lot of trees in front of my house, so I get to see some rare activity happening. So I don't want to miss them. So I always have it handy. I mean, almost ready in my room. So I just go and grab that and. This case, I had all the luxury to again sit in a very comfortable position. The spider was taking a lot of time for it to finish off this fly. So and while I was shooting, it moved on a small wooden perch. So this is that wooden perch where it is actually sitting and eating it. So yeah, this is again on camera flash which I used for this.
Okay. So for most of your pictures, you do you use one light or do you use multiple light as well?
It actually it completely depends. Meaning, if your subject doesn't move much, or
Mhm.
if you have an extra hand to help, then obviously I'll use two lights. But not every time we would be needing someone's assistance, right? At that time, I'll be using on camera flash. Yeah.
Okay. So do you go shooting generally alone or with some people with you?
Most of the time, I shoot with my friends.
Okay.
We have a very good nice group here in Bangalore. So every weekend we go to some forests and we keep shooting insects. In my home, whenever I get time, I keep shooting. So it's like 50-50% kind of a thing. On the weekends, I go out with my friends. On the weekdays, I shoot in my home. Yeah.
Okay. Great. Okay. What about this picture?
This is a most colorful spider found in India, at least as far as I know. This is called Chrysella,
Okay.
and it's a male spider. So the male spiders have actually beautiful colors. So this I shot on a. It was actually a very long leaf. The leaf itself was long, and it was kind of bent. And this spider is extremely small. I mean, it is so small that if you are under a proper sunlight, you'll get to see this spider because they shine. They have a very nice metallic body, and the colors shine, and that is how you find them. But or else it is quite difficult to find these spiders, because one thing is they are kind of ground dwelling. They don't get onto trees or plants. They are mostly found on the ground, and that too in the crevasses. It is kind of difficult. You have to keep searching for them. And the next thing is they're so tiny. It is kind of difficult for us to shoot it. So this was again at a magnification of maybe I have crossed 1:1 magnification here. So this is it then again with the same setup wherein I was using Nikon D7200 plus my extension tubes and the macro lens extended to its highest possible length.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
Venkatesh, how long you have been shooting this macro photography?
It's been almost 3 years now. Yeah.
3 years. Okay. So let us go back, the Venkatesh of 1 year back and what you are now. So what do you think has improved over this last 1 year?
The last 1 year, maybe I started capturing more activity now, and I'm mostly concentrating on the composition more than the profiles of these insects, because I already shot them. Now I want to go further. Mostly I keep looking at different lighting ideas. I mean, it's not, this is just an on-camera flash. Like if most of my images are on camera flash, and I started using off-camera flash since 1 year. So I keep
Okay.
experimenting
Okay.
with different lightings. So yeah.
Okay. And how do you gain knowledge? So whatever knowledge you say you are improving, you are trying different things. So what are the source of knowledge for you?
So I keep searching on internet. Like I see photos of few amazing photographers like Thomas Shan and a few other Michael Doe. All these photographers, they are like amazing photographers. They another person, Nikki Ray. So all these Nikki Bay. So these guys, they have amazing setup, and they have
Mm.
explained it so well. Even for a beginner, it is kind of easy to understand the whole process. So I keep see. It's like whenever you read something, you get to learn something new, though it is the same stuff,
Mm.
because you start exploring what it is written on papers, and once you start once you start putting it into practice, we'll actually understand what the author actually means.
Right.
So reading the same article like year after year, it is still new to me, so that I keep exploring some new stuff in the same article which I've read like 1 year ago. So I keep even a very small technique which is there, which I found it intriguing. I keep dwelling on it. I keep searching on internet. Like I keep checking all the other photographers how they do it.
Mhm.
So yeah. So it's always this research work we have to do to make
Mm.
sure we are growing and not just shooting the same stuff again and again.
Okay, great. So, Venkatesh, please tell us a little bit about your workflow. I'm sure it must be very refined because you yourself work with the Adobe Lightroom team. So, please tell us a
Yeah.
little bit about your workflow.
So like once I'm see, it is not always that every weekend we go and we get some great shots.
Right.
So every time we shoot some, maybe for one or two insects, maybe if we shoot like 20 to 30 images, one or two will be in focus and most of them will be out of focus, or not every time the insect will be there itself. It would have moved on or something like that. Or so not every time we get such images. It's like lot of trial and errors we get such images. So when I go to a shoot, it's like say for example I have shot some 100 images. Most probably out of 100 images, 10 to 20 would be something worth keeping, and the rest of all the 80 others I'll be deleting them in one go. So yeah, I have a workflow wherein I bring them to Lightroom, and my first action would be converting them to DNG. So I mean, it kind of saves space, right? DNG files save space, and also it is kind of universal. It's not any other file can open a raw image. So
Okay.
any other
So,
application can open a raw image. So
right. So, do you
I
always
want
also keep your raw files apart from the
no,
DNG?
I delete my raw files. I delete my NEFs and I just keep the DNGs.
Okay.
Yeah. So once I bring them to photo Lightroom, what I do, I just select a few images. which are worth keeping in my Lightroom catalog, and a few other images. I just again I start culling here. It is a second filtering process what I do. So I see my workflow will be in such a way that I have shot lot of heavy magnified subjects. So most of the images would be on focus tagged. So I make sure I have those focus tag candidates, and also those images which are perfectly in focus, mostly the eye, which is in critical focus. Once I have picked those images, I just reject the rest of the images and delete them. So by this time, I would be having like 5 to 10 images most probably. So I keep I refine these images. So if you want me to explain my edit workflow, first and foremost thing what I'd be doing is correcting the white balance and also the color calibration of the whole image. I will make sure the greens are proper greens, the reds are proper reds, and the blues are proper blues. Once I make sure the color correction is all done, I will start editing the image, and the process goes on. I mean, yeah. Once I'm done with it, I export them into different qualities, and I just upload them to cloud, the Creative Cloud, and one I keep one as a backup in OneDrive and one in my own personal hard drive. So yeah.
Okay, great. We'll move to the next image. Beautiful.
Oh yeah, this is lot of activity going on this particular image. So so the main subject here is the star here in this photo is the crab spider, where you can see it is properly camouflaged under the flower. It is perfectly camouflaged, just waiting for a prey to come and suck the nectar out, and it will just grab the opportunity to ambush and catch the prey. So this is an interesting story wherein again this happened in front of my house itself in the garden. So there are these beautiful flowers, and I should tell you, every flower had one crab spider below it. So I mean, maybe it was the proper season, or one crab spider laid a lot of eggs, and everyone was were sticking to the same plant most probably. So it was a great opportunity for me. So every one now and then, whenever I get free time, I just come into the garden area and I keep looking for these crab spiders to if they have caught anything or something like that. So here it caught this honeybee, and if you see closely, there are small other flies again feeding on this honeybee. So it's a very nice,
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So so these flies are taking the opportunity, and they are making use of the dead
wow.
insect here. So the crab spider is actually feeding on this particular bee, and the small flies again, they are also taking the advantage. They are also feeding on the same bee. And it is kind of, even on this image, it is kind of difficult to make out that there is a spider there below the leaf. I mean, all we can see is the flower and the bee, right? It is kind of difficult. Like most
Right.
of them who have seen this image, they just ask me, what is there in this image? I mean, what is the bee doing there? And after zooming in, they'll be like all shocked to see.
Yeah. So that's
Yeah,
why I don't like to see pictures on the mobile phone. You see, you can't see, you can enjoy this picture on a mobile phone,
true,
right?
true, true. Yeah.
Great. So, really amazing. So, I mean, of all your pictures, I mean, are most of them stacked, or are they single images?
So these images, which are not heavily magnified, they are all single images.
Okay,
I have shot a few extreme magnified subjects, so they would be like a stack of maybe. I haven't exceeded more than 5 images in stacking.
okay, okay,
So yeah, most of them are either 3 or 4 images stacked.
okay. And what is your stacking process like? So how do you do it?
My workflow is it?
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, not in the computer. So I mean, uh, there are some cameras which allow you to stack very easily. So how is the what is the functionality in your camera that you use for
So
stacking?
like I said earlier, I use only manual focus.
Hmm.
So I won't rely on camera for such composite shots. What I do
Okay.
is I know, like I've been practicing so much that now I know like how to shoot a focus stack. Like in what I do is the same mechanism. The same technique I use. I take a deep breath, and when I'm exhaling, uh, after I know I keep clicking the images. I am pretty sure after while exhaling, I'm going to change the focal plane of the subject. So I know I would be pretty sure that I am not going to have the same focus area when while I'm exhaling. So I keep clicking the images. So it would be again a matter of again trial and error of 5 to 6 sets.
Mhm.
So I'll just combine them. I'll just look for the right candidates and I'll merge them.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Beautiful.
Yeah, this is a rainbow spider. I mean, I love the way how these spiders, show off the colors. I mean, they flaunt in a very nice way. So this is again a small spider. Again, they are like ground dwelling. They don't you won't find it on trees. They're found on the ground itself.
Okay.
So and kind of easy to spot them at least once a person gets into the macro photography hobby, they'll somehow get this spider. I mean, it's kind of easy because they're all around, they're in a very good number.
Okay.
And this is a male spider again. So the males have very good colors on their body. So I love the way how the colors change abruptly. This, if you see the
Mhm.
color contrast here, the peacock
Beautiful.
blue on the sides, and again the purple color in front of its pedipalps, and
Beautiful.
the red stripe line on under its eye. They look amazing.
Beautiful. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching us today. So, yeah, if you have any questions you want to ask to Venkatesh, you can please type in the comments. I'll read them once we finish with the pictures. And we are going to do a lot of these kind of events. So please make sure you subscribe to our channel, and so you get notifications on the next events. All right. So we'll move to the next picture. Beautiful.
Yeah. So this is a stack of two images here.
Okay.
Uh, so this is a robber fly. They are like the amazing hunters in this insect
Mm.
kingdom. They just keep observing. Most probably they just observe what is happening around. They just find its prey. They just go catch its prey and they start eating, devouring them. And everything happens in a blink of an eye. Everything is so amazing. I'll recommend all you guys to watch a video how a robber fly uh, hunts in the wild. So it is amazing to watch. It is on YouTube, most probably. Yeah, it is on YouTube, so you all guys should watch how it hunts. You'll be all you know impressed by its hunting techniques. So
Okay.
these insects, like it is the right time to capture these insects is when they are eating something, or when they are mating, or when they are sleeping. So these are the times they won't fly away when there's someone close. So while this robber fly was uh, feasting on this weevil, this a small bug, I and my friend, we grabbed the opportunity to shoot this. And this again I shot with an magnification, with the same setup for extension tubes and my Tamron 90 lens. And I think I was even using Raynox DCR 250 for this image. So it needed a lot of light. So my friend helped me with the lighting as well. So this was shot with two light. One with you see the eye of the robber fly, right? One wherein the eye was properly lit, and my friend was helping me with the side lighting of the eye so that we
Okay.
get it properly lit on both sides.
Okay.
And again, this was a two-shot image, so one with the weevil in focus and one with the robber fly eye in focus. So
Okay.
after importing into Lightroom, I moved that to Photoshop and I merged them. Yeah.
Okay. Great. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah, this is a Malabar gliding frog. This was shot in Coorg, in a nice estate called Honey Valley in Virajpet area. Yeah, it is somewhere near Virajpet and Coorg. So
Mhm.
there it was raining heavily one night, and maybe at 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock in the night, all these frogs were croaking, and we went out and we saw like a huge number of frogs all enjoying the rain. And they were all looking for prey, and almost probably they're all hunting. then. So this particular frog was actually resting. This particular leaf is actually was actually curled up, and this frog was happily resting inside that curled up leaf. And yeah, I did disturb its sleep though. So again, we didn't want it to flash on the eye. It might it might not be right. So what I did is I used a tripod or something to just put light on the leaf,
Hmm.
beneath the leaf, so that it just illuminates everywhere. And then I got this shot. I shot this exactly standing on. I just bent over and I was looking on top of it, and I shot this image.
Okay. So was this a continuous lighting or some flash?
This is a flash again. I used a torchlight to focus the subject.
Okay.
So once I focus the subject, I switch off the torch and I shoot this image.
Oh,
So most of the things happen in the dark. So most of the settings, it's all again luck and practice here.
right.
Perseverance is like once you get the hang of it, it will be very easy shooting such a shoot.
Okay. So
Yeah.
how many shots did you take for this one perfect shot?
Mostly two or three. That's all.
Oh,
Yeah.
great. Beautiful lighting here. Beautiful.
Yeah. This is again two light shot, I can say, because it was raining very heavily. Again, this was shot in Agumbe. Uh, so it was raining very heavily, and we were a gang of maybe of 5 or 7. So it's not safe to walk in the forest of Agumbe alone. So we should always go in a group. It is kind of scary and a bit of dangerous also, because there'll be a
Hmm.
lot of venomous snakes
Hmm.
in the forest of Agumbe.
Right.
So we saw the snake, and it was kind of very interesting. I love the snake because the greens and the yellows, they look beautiful on the snake.
Right.
Uh, so I really wanted to emphasize on the greens and the yellows only, not the snake itself. So I thought,
Hmm.
okay, let me show this snake in a very different perspective. So I asked my friend to, it was, since I told you it was raining heavily, we were all wearing our umbrellas. Sorry, we were holding our umbrellas and all. So on one hand we'll be holding the umbrella, on the other hand we'll be holding the camera and the flash.
Hmm.
So most of the things would be wet there. Everything will be all wet because of the rain, because of too much of handling, and obviously we will somehow miss the umbrella. And the wind is also would be high. So it's again, it's all we have to get dirty in the such fields. So
Right. Right.
my friend was holding the flash below the snake, and we didn't have a trigger. I didn't have a trigger then. So what I did is I used my on camera flash to trigger the other flash.
Okay. Okay.
So my on
Okay.
camera flash was at 1 by 128,
Okay.
and the other one, which was at slave, was maybe 1 by 8 or 1 by 64.
Okay.
So
So
once the flash was fired, I got the shot wasn't like this though. I mean, it was nicely lit,
hmm.
having these areas a bit of most of the highlights here. So I brought down to Lightroom and reduced the exposure drastically and played
Okay.
around with the shadows and the highlights to get this particular effect.
Right. So very nice. So this one very good point that you said, Venkatesh. So a lot of people will not be aware that there is a commander mode in your camera, and you can use your on-camera flash to trigger your external flash. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is again, it's a different, it's the same snake, but I found it somewhere in Agumbe itself. So we were in a estate called Hingara. It's an amazing estate, and the host there is like very sweet. I mean, they know the heart of a macro photographer, what they want. They'll take you to the nice places, and they also maintain that, they're amazing. What is that word, they take care of the environment very nicely. I mean, they make sure everything is in place. It's not like you go and distract an insect or a snake or something like that. They make sure everything is in place in harmony. So they're like amazing people who help you shoot and find such amazing species. So this was again, this particular snake was in the same estate itself. So there was a very big tree, and it was actually looking for a prey. It was at a knee level. So what I did is I went close to the camera. This time I had a trigger because it's in the same estate. I went into the room and I bought the trigger for my flash. What I did is, since it's on my knee level, I was holding one of the flash with my between my knees, and I bent a bit forward to capture this to get a nice top level. And I just wanted to show only the eye. My main focus was the eye and not the snake itself. So I thought, okay, let me just light the subject exactly in front of it so that I get a proper illuminated backlighting at the same time, having the eyes lit properly so that that yellow, it kind of looks like a jewel,
Yeah.
maybe a
Yeah.
stone or something like that. So I
Right.
wanted this effect. So while shooting itself, I made this edited image in my mind already.
Mm. Mm.
So it was kind of easy. All I did is uh, I was just holding the flash between my knee, and I shot this image with my trigger.
Okay. And what kind of modifier did you use for your flash?
So like when we buy a flash, maybe we get one particular plastic small diffuser kind of a
Mm.
thing. So
Okay.
I didn't use extra modifiers here. I was just using that small flash so that
Mm.
it won't be harsh on the snake also. And the flash also was in a very low intensity so that,
Mm.
you know, when we shoot, we also should maintain these ethics wherein we should not, uh, create harm or start taking advantage of these insects or the snakes and all by firing a lot of flashes or getting into their territory and ruining it for them. So we have to maintain a very friendly distance and at the same time make sure we are not interrupting into their activities. So we have to make sure we have to be at a distance, always be careful, always be vigilant of what is happening. So yeah, that is how I shot this image. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, this is a shot of a cicada which just got molted. I mean, this is a nice phenomena we get to see. So these creatures, they lay in the ground, and when at the time comes, they come out again. This was shot in a very rainy day. Again in the night at maybe 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock. So they just find a nice perch and they come out of that with beautiful wings. So when they molt at this particular timing, they still are not properly, uh, you know, uh, they haven't got their proper body and all. So they will be actually pumping a lot of blood and all. So when that particular thing happens, you can see those beautiful colors on its wings. And this stays for a few hours, maybe once they are out of its previous stage, they just stay in this colorful mode for some time. Later on, they turn completely brown. So we have to take that opportunity to shoot this to get those amazing colors on the wings.
Beautiful.
This is again a robber fly. I shot this in Agumbe itself. This with the same setup what I used on my first image with extension tubes and the Tamron 9 km lens. This robber fly was very big, not like how we find it in our cities. These were huge, extremely huge. So I was able to capture nice details of the eye here on this robber fly.
Okay.
And yeah.
So around your place, you must have shot quite a lot of species. So is there any species left for you to shoot?
Oh, there are a lot of species which are left for me to shoot.
Okay.
Yeah,
Great.
too many. This is a very interesting beetle. This is called a tiger beetle. They have such amazing metallic colors on their body, and it is even though if someone spots this beetle, it is very hard to shoot this particular beetle because they move so swiftly. It is kind of, it looks like it disappears in one area and appears in a different area altogether. So they are like very fast. So it kinds of difficult to shoot such beetles. They are extremely fast. In I mean, it is just not at all an exaggerated way what I'm saying. You will be amazed to see how they move. So one particular day, it was again, this was shot in Agumbe, so it was raining very heavily. And Agumbe, it always rains in Agumbe. So this, luckily, this was actually patiently sitting on one stem, and I took the opportunity, and it wasn't there for a long time, maybe for a minute or two. That itself is quite precious because it's quite kind of hard to see them, sit silent, stay silently. So I took the opportunity. This is a stack of two images. One image, I just had those uh, teeth area, those mandibles in focus, and the other shot with the eye in focus. So in Photoshop,
Okay.
I stacked them.
Okay. Great.
This I shot in Mysore, wherein there's a small place where people they kind of talk about spiders and importance of spiders in daily life. There is a very nice group there, so who like to give awareness about spiders and not to kill them, and they are like very good pest control in at homes and all. So there's such nice group there. So we all went to a spider meet there, and this small spider, it's actually my diffuser where you're seeing, it's a styrofoam. So
Right.
this spider was on my styrofoam, and that's a baby. I found it very cute. So it was actually, curious what is happening. So I took the opportunity to, and I shot this image. This is again a very nice magnification of Tamron lens and Renox DCR 250 I used to shoot this.
Okay. So generally, your setup is like three extension tubes, your macro lens, and additionally, do you use Renox on top of that, or you don't use that whole combination?
I keep swapping. See, if at all my subject is stable, doesn't move much, I'll try to take advantage. I'll try to take advantage of the magnification. I'll clip on a Renox DCR also. But if they are like spiders or any other flies, which they get startled very easily if you go close. So for such, I just use my extension tubes and Tamron 90.
Okay. So how close generally do you go to these kind of insects?
So most of my images, all the magnified images, would be at a distance of maybe a 5 to 10 inches.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What about this?
Okay, this is a very interesting behavior in spiders. So this is a Bavia, so spider species is Bavia. It is actually eating another Bavia. So it's cannibalism here in
Hmm.
spiders. It is actually eating its own kind. So it's kind of interesting here to see how it behaves and how it is in nature. Everything, maybe a prey of one predator is in prey of another predator, something like that. So yeah,
Very
sorry, the
interesting.
predator is a prey of another
Hmm.
thing. Sorry, yeah. So this is again of a nice magnification again with the same extension tubes and Tamron 90. This was shot in Agumbe. Yeah.
Beautiful.
It's the same spider with different perspective and capturing the whole body here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So generally, when you are shooting these insects, what is there any special angle that you use? You shoot from the top, or you shoot head on? So, what is your thought?
Like this, it completely depends on what I actually want.
Okay.
So in the previous image, if you see, I wanted to capture the web. I mean, if you see, it is actually holding on to a web in the back. If you see exactly at the abdomen area, you can
Yes.
see the
Yes. Yes.
yeah, exactly, the silk
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So I want to even capture the abdomen colors, the
Wow.
whole body. So, and I want a side profile of this.
Okay.
So
Could
in
you
that
really
cases,
see with your eyes? Could you really see this thing with your eyes?
like once you get a hang of it, right, you will kind of easily understand, okay, it is hanging on to its silk, or it is using the support of its silk to
Wow.
move.
Okay.
This is another amazing behavior you get to see in spiders, wherein they lay eggs and they don't move away from it. Even whatever the situation is, they won't go away from its egg clutch. So this is a British spider. It lays eggs, and it stays on there for maybe a few weeks there and doesn't go away even for food or anything like that. So once the spiders are all hatched and they start going on their way, these spiders, they stay there, hang on to these eggs, and they show that amazing motherly love here. So this is one such example wherein it was just sticking to these eggs, and because it is sticking to the eggs and it won't move, I took the advantage of the magnification. So I went up close and shot this image.
Okay. So Venkatesh, do you also read some books on insects, or I mean, what is your source of knowledge that you know? Is it just from experience, or how is it?
Like this thing goes hand in hand. Like after I shoot something, I come home. I if I don't know what species that is, I do some research on knowing what species it is and its behavior, and what type of behavior you get to see in different modes, wherein it is attack hunting or while it is eating,
Okay. So
taking
where do
care
you
of
do
its.
your research? Is it from the internet, or you ask your friends, or how is it?
It's both. Like I check on internet, I watch videos on YouTube on these insects, and I also watch these documentaries on these insects, and also I ask my friends, like multiple sources. I make sure I have very pretty good information about these things, so that next time I spot them, I make sure I capture a different behavior rather than just shooting the portrait of the
Okay.
particular insect. Yeah.
Oh, great.
So this is just to show how lighting changes the whole perspective. It's the same image as you saw earlier, the previous image. What I just did is this was actually resting on a leaf, so I just took the liberty, since it won't move much and it is taking care of its eggs. I just took the liberty of holding the flash under the leaf. I just
Mm,
placed the flash under the leaf and I just
mm.
shot it with a trigger. This
Okay.
completely changes the perspective of how you're going to see your subject, and that green lighting which creates, and you see a problem, very nice symmetry there.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, without losing the story of the image where a
Mm.
mother is taking care of its eggs.
Right. Beautiful.
Yeah. This is a heavy-bodied jumping spider. This was actually, trying to catch a prey on a rose flower. So it wasn't moving much. I took the opportunity to shoot this, and once I started shooting it, I had to go very close because this is a combination of extension tubes plus Tamron 90 lens and Raynaud's DCR 250. So I was extremely close to the spider. Generally, when we are very close to a spider, they just they get curious and they jump on your camera and your diffusers. So luckily, this wasn't that curious. Also, it was just trying to understand what is happening, and it all happens in a span of 10 to 15 seconds. So that's all. Whatever I'm talking in terms of few seconds. That's all. You have to just take the opportunity to and shoot them. And this is a stack of three images. I had to shoot like 15 to 20 images, and I got three proper images wherein focused with different areas, and I stacked them.
And you focus, as you said before, you focus them manually by moving little back and forth and subtle movements.
Correct. Exactly. Yes. So this is another crab spider. So we saw this. Me and my friends, we were seeing this crab spider, and I was actually thinking like, how you should shoot something different. So I've shot a lot of portraits of the spider, but I want to show them in a very different perspective. So once uh, I was actually carefully looking at what is happening around, and maybe this spider saw some prey there. It started, going down and with this very nice silk. So I thought backlighting would make it look more beautiful. Uh, Having a proper backlit image in such pose is kind of, very interesting. So I thought because when they start spinning web and they use the web to go start moving, it kind of spreads its legs around, so it is kind of beautiful to watch it. So with the backlighting, I got the nice silk properly lit, and also those limbs properly lit. So yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
I love the way you use your light. It's just
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. Thank you. This is another amazing behavior we get to see in nature. Those small insects, yellow color insects, they are called aphids. What they do is they feed onto a stem and they secrete some nice sugary juicy substance through their excreta, and these ants they go feed on those sugary substance. So there is a nice beautiful relationship here wherein these small aphids are feeding these ants, and ants are actually acting like say a guardian for these small insects, wherein there are no predators which will come and uh, eat up these small aphids. So it is like a very mutual understanding here between these insect world. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, this is another extreme magnified shot which I've shot. This is a stack of four, not four, three images. Yeah, three images.
Okay.
So luckily, I had to capture a lot of shots of the spider, and it wasn't moving much. All it was just trying to understand what is happening. So we
Okay.
get to shoot like that, but not every time the spiders or any other insect, they stay while you're shooting. So out of lot of insects I've shot, this is one such spider which didn't move much. All it was doing is trying to understand what was happening. So maybe out of like 30 to 40 shots, I got the opportunity to shoot. No, I got maybe two or maybe three images which were properly in focus in different areas, and I stacked them in Photoshop again. See, if you see closely,
Can,
after it's the front part, you can see everything is on autofocus,
right. Right.
and you can see my diffuser there in the eye as a
Yes.
reflection.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, this I shot in Bangalore itself. There's a nice park near our home, so uh, this particular frame is one of my favorite. Because if you see the stem, it kind of somehow symbolizes Indian flag, the orange color, the white and the
Hmm.
green stem. So,
Right.
and these ants are looking like the army kind of a thing. So I actually named this as the Indian Army. So I love the way how they're exactly standing there. Opposite to each other, and again I took the help of my friend to for backlighting this image. This was shot, this is a backlit shot, and I use my diffuser as a reflector to just light up the front area. So in
Okay.
this case, my since the diffuser is all white
Hmm.
material, it
Hmm.
kind of acts like a reflector as well. So the light coming out from the backlight image was actually reflecting it and kind of lighting the stem properly.
Great.
Yeah. Again, this is the same insect. It's a different one though. What you saw in the first image. So
Right.
again, the same activity they were hatched. I mean, they were actually trying to explore or go start their own lives. So I took the opportunity. I liked how I mean how it worked out for the composition as well.
Yeah.
The flower on the right side, and again how it balances from the left, looking like a leading line there,
Beautiful.
and again meeting up near the flowers. So it was very beautiful to watch, and also compositionally it was kind of photographic there. So yeah.
Beautiful.
Oh, interesting. Oh, I don't. Okay. So yeah, this is a fish. I have few fish at home. I have three or four fish tanks. So
Okay.
I have quite a few fish there. So this was shot during the quarantine time.
Okay.
So
Okay.
whenever I get time, yeah, if you see that image, that is actually my setup. I was
Yeah, I can see
actually
that. Hmm.
explaining that to someone else. Maybe
Hmm.
I share the same image.
Yeah,
So
that's fine. It's good. People can learn from that. Very
so
nice.
yeah, if you see below my tank is actually a reflector. That is actually a reflector which I have placed.
Okay, that's below the tank. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, the below the tank. So I have placed a permanent reflectors below the fish tank,
Okay.
and I've used the help of a tripod to put my flash, hold my flash on top of the tank,
Okay.
and I started shooting. I mean, to shoot this image, it is kind of tricky because you will get a lot of reflections from the background. So
Hmm.
you have to use a very big black cloth, So I wrapped my camera with a very big black cardboard,
Mm-hmm.
so that only the lens is out exposed and rest of them are a black, so that there is no reflection from the mirror, sorry,
Mm.
glass.
Ah, okay. And only one light, only one flash.
On only one single light. I mean, the reflector is acting like a second light though.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
This I shot very recently, maybe like 1 month ago. So it's in this small garden and here. So it's on the it's a terrace garden. So it was a very nice, beautiful sunset which was happening, and I took the opportunity to use this. There are a lot of mantis in the terrace garden, so I just took the opportunity to use this sunset as a background and wanted to shoot this particular silhouette.
Great.
And I like how the clouds are acting like they are putting a lot of drama to the image and the rays which are coming out. Overall it
Right.
looks like a very beautiful dramatic image. So
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
thought it, yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. Beautiful. So,
This
what?
is
Yeah.
Sorry, this is just with the Tamron lens, no extension tubes, nothing.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So, what are the tips that you would like to give somebody who is getting started with macro photography? Who wants to start?
Uh, One thing is always, make sure you do your research, and getting, even if someone wants to just start out and doesn't want to invest much, so they might be looking at reverse rings or extension tubes most probably, or some close-up filters. So problem is with these things, though they have problem with the reverse rings and the close-up filters, uh, though you get your image properly, I mean, most of the areas you would see a lot of distortion. And not just that, with the reverse lenses, with the reverse ring setup, you can't control the aperture properly. I mean, there's a lot of limitations there because you are actually exposing your outer element of your lens, and then it is like prone to ruin the lens, and also it is kind of difficult to manage the aperture there. So if you want to try out something with reverse rings or close-up filters, I would suggest do it for practice, and later on, once you find like this is your niche, or if you find this is where you would enjoy this particular genre of photography, you can start investing on extension tubes, Reynolds DCR 250, and later on a macro lens itself. But be it whatever, perseverance is the key here. It is not like one single day you shoot and you get such images. It
Mhm.
takes a lot of practice, and a lot of trial and errors. There's a little bit lot of learning here. There's so much learning curve here that every single shoot, even though it is worth the deleting, there's something you can learn from that image.
Right. Great. So, Venkatesh, we'll take some questions and okay. So maybe you can answer these questions. Okay. So, do you use a ring flash? Sudhanshu is asking this question.
No, I don't use a ring flash. What I do, I use a normal flash, which is the normal flash what you get on Amazon or something like that. It's just a uh, on-camera flash. That's all. Yeah,
Okay.
it's not even worth more than 3,000 rupees. It's just 2,000 rupees, which has it's all manual. Again, no TTL, nothing like that.
Okay. Okay. Great. Okay. So, Satish is asking, would like to see your videos, your various flash diffusers. Is it possible to show us now?
Yeah, I can show you one quickly. I'll show you my setup actually. Just give me a moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is my setup. So this is the same modifier which I was talking earlier, how I shot the wine snake.
Right, right.
So if I don't want to use like big setups, then I start using them. Else, this is my setup. If you can see, these are the
Yeah.
extension tubes I'm using. These are the Kenko extension tubes.
Mm.
They do even autofocus. They have electronics here. If you see,
Okay. Mm.
so they have electronic contact, but I don't use them because it is kind of difficult, rely on autofocus. So this is the flash I use. This is again normal speed light, and this is my Tamron 90 lens. I extended to this. This is a maximum I can extend this.
Mm.
So at times I clip on a Rhinox DCR. I don't find. I'm not finding it now. So
No
Indian
problem.
chase.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
know that. Okay.
So this is my
Great.
setup, and for a secondary flash, I use this one. It's a small flash,
Okay.
so that it's kind of very easy to handle it.
Okay. So, do you have
One
any
second.
DIY diffuser as well?
Yeah, I do have one. So one particular diffuser, I have used it for a fish tank. There's another diffuser which I can show you. This is just a normal styrofoam what we get in Amazon packaging and all.
Right,
All I
right.
did is I just made a hole here and use a
Okay.
rubber band to, you
Okay.
see this?
Mm. Yes.
So
Very
all I
nice.
can, use this. So I'll just stick this here
Wow.
and shoot. That's
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
yeah. It's as
Beautiful.
simple as this. Yeah.
Wow. This really helps. I think this will be very helpful. So I'm glad Satish asked this question. Okay. So Dr. Nitin is asking, what single lens do you recommend for beginners for macro photography for Canon?
Single lens. See, I always suggest go for the highest focal length. I know there is one 60 macro lens, but it is kind of difficult to shoot with because you have to go very close to the subject, and you won't be satisfied because if you do go too close when you are beginning out, it is kind of difficult, get proper focused images, and you'll get frustrated and you'll stop shooting macro. So I would suggest if you can invest in a very good macro lens, minimum to minimum 90 mm macro. So there is one Tokina 100 macro, and there is a Tamron 90 macro.
Mm.
So you can start. You can buy them, or if you really want to, if you don't want to invest so much, but you want to try it out, there are some cheap extension tubes also, which you can just clip onto anything. So this Kenko extension tubes, what I've showed, they are expensive one, like maybe in Indian rupees it is like 11,000 or 10,000.
Mm.
They are one of the best extension tubes, but there are a few generic extension tubes which are for 2,000 rupees, 3,000 rupees also. I would
Okay.
suggest use them and try it out, but only thing is you have to go a bit close to the image. You won't get infinity focus and all with this.
Okay. Okay. Right. So Kiran is asking, I am using a Canon 77D and 18-135 millimeter and Renox 250 DCR, but I see most of my images are blurry.
So that depends on what is the focal length he's using, because what is the lens you mentioned? What is that lens? 70-150, is it?
18-135.
18-135. So at 18 mm, it is kind of easy for him to get a proper focus if he has a very good aperture. Maybe
Right.
since he's beginning, maybe I would suggest him to try at f16 or f14.
Mm.
Later on, maybe once he gets an hang of how to use with the setup, maybe he can go at f9 or something like that to get a very nice pleasing background and a very narrow depth of field. But for starters, f16 is something I would suggest. But again, if you are at f16, you might be losing a lot of light. Just use your pop-up camera flash and use a small paper at any thermocol sheet also. You just stick on in front of your lens and start shooting that way. You will understand the difference, because once you start using flash, you will actually get a very nice stable shots
Mm.
because of the flash setup itself.
Okay. All right. So, yeah. So Kiran is asking about the flash. So we already talked about that. So any basic, you are using manual flash, right?
Correct, yeah.
Okay. Great. So it does not cost a lot of money. Just I think 3,000 rupees you'll get a manual flash.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
So Naveen is saying, "Hi Venkatesh, love your images. Is there any photographer that you consider as a kind of an idol?"
uh, Maniki Bay is one photographer whom I consider as idol. So
Okay. Okay. So Naveen is asking another question. So was there your any scariest moment for you as a photographer?
uh, whenever I hear news that there's a snake on somewhere nearby while shooting, it is kind of scary to shoot alone. So there are times I have you know uh, ventured out alone in the forest, and if at all even I see snake skin, I kind of uh, I'll go 2 steps back, just to I'll start getting, I'll panic a bit, but again later on I'll get that courage to go and shoot. Yeah, there were a lot of such instances.
Okay. So Sridhar is saying that you are like a Spider-Man in macro photography, stunning pictures. Okay.
Thank you,
So
Sridhar.
so Vivekanand sir is asking, have you used mirrorless cameras where focus peaking is very handy while focusing manually?
Yeah, I've used, and they are very helpful. Yeah, it's actually a very good thing to have a proper optical viewfinder. Sorry, yeah, digital viewfinder, and it makes photographing these insects so simple. Once you get a proper focus peaking, you know what area is in focus because the camera shows you. Yeah,
Right.
that I've used. I have an Olympus camera with me, so at times I shoot with that too. Yeah,
Okay. Okay. But your main camera that you use is D7200.
correct. Yeah.
Okay. So do you plan to switch into any other mirrorless camera in near future?
Mirrorless cameras. I just want, see, this particular setup what I have is kind of heavy.
Hmm.
So at times what I do is I use an extra lever which I can use another flash. So I have two flashes on the sides. The whole setup becomes very heavy, and for a whole day shooting it is very difficult.
Mitu, Mitu.
Four thirds. So I bought an Olympus camera. The I've not ventured out much.
Okay. Great. All right. So we have one more question. How do you control your light exposure on your subject? I think you have very nicely demonstrated it to us, right? So that's really good.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So Satish is saying in macro photography, there are chances that you get saturation at some point. I heard this from one of the macro photographers. How will you, how do you motivate yourself to overcome this?
See, like I said earlier, I'm actually looking into more of compositional way of shooting than taking the portraits of the activity. So once you start exploring, you will see an endless opportunity of taking photos. So just if at all a person is like mm, mm, bored of shooting the same way, like maybe too much of close-ups, he can go a bit wider and start exploring, maybe shoot with habitat. I know a few photographers who shoot with wide angle macro lenses, and the focus area is, I mean, the focus area is so small that you have to almost touch the insect when you're shooting it to get a magnification, and you get amazing picture of the habitat as well. It's not just your subject what you're shooting. If I am shooting a snake, it is not just a snake I'm shooting. I'm even shooting the whole area, whole forest, to show people like what is the environment of these particular snakes, or So you have to keep exploring the other ways and starts looking for possibilities, because there are n number of possibilities and lot of perspectives here. Hey, you're on mute.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Venkatesh, for joining us today evening. It was great talking to you and listening to your stories and understanding the settings and the light that you use for taking the pictures. I'm sure this will inspire a lot of people to go out and explore this photography. And I think you don't need to go to really an exotic place. I think they are always around you. You can always shoot
Yes,
anything
yes, yeah, yeah.
around you. So, and I really feel proud that you started photography, learning photography with me. It's really a very proud moment for me. So thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, sir.
So if
Thank you very
you
much.
want to, you want to say some last words, and then we'll close the session.
Like I have said earlier, right? My one of my inspiration is you, sir. Like every single time I open Facebook, I'm not much active on Facebook, or generally only on Instagram I'm a bit active, but not on other medias. But so whenever I open Facebook, I see an update from you with a different post wherein you have gone somewhere and you have shot images. So they are like very inspiring. Like like how one of the participants, he said like one will get saturated. So that way, whenever I get that feeling that acha bahut ho gaya photography, then I see your images. I start thinking, okay, there is a lot of other possibilities. I shouldn't give up, or I shouldn't, look for other types of photography or something like that. And again, the next day I'll be out. So it's kind
Great,
of inspiring how you go out every year. You conduct a lot of photo tours, inspire a lot of people, and I am a fan of all your night photography at Spiti or this Himalayan region. What you have shot, amazing, the beautiful. I remember one shot of you at Chandratal. I suppose it's a night shot, night sky shot, where you have explained how you have used a light torchlight to light up the tent and all. So they open up our thinking, and it gives a lot of uh, context, and also gives a different perspective on how to shoot, and it opens up a whole new area altogether.
great, great. Thank you so much, Venkatesh. I feel so
Yeah,
proud. So thank you, Venkatesh. Thank you once again for joining. I'm really grateful to you for your time and keep clicking and keep sharing your amazing pictures with you. And
sure, yeah, yeah,
maybe we'll go out shooting together sometime. Thank you very much. Good night.
absolutely, sure, yeah. Good night.